Brothers and sisters, welcome to Election Eve. If you haven't already voted, everybody knows, but tomorrow is Election Day. Make sure your voice is heard. We encourage all of our members to vote. With that being said, I'm going to do some general housekeeping here really quick. This Thursday, starting at 7 o'clock, we will be having a town hall Zoom meeting. That is in the newsletter. More information on it. Again, that is this Thursday at 7 p.m. The Zoom meeting for the local issues, things we've been dealing with lately. Next Tuesday will be our regularly scheduled union meeting. And the week after, we will have the vote for the state affiliation, as well as the vote for the bylaw change to open up Local 660 to additional members. With that being said, we want to make sure everybody understands. We hear your frustrations. We hear them loud and clear across all ranks, from division chiefs, battalion chiefs, captains, engineers, most importantly, firefighters. We understand the frustration. It started off with the Kelly numbers being taken away, and now it has evolved into the mandatory overtime. This is why we need to have a union. All right, these issues that are going on. The reason we need to have a union is so we all come together. We are a firefighter first organization. Understand that Local 660 is a firefighter first organization. We've heard people say in the past that we're always against administration or we're against the city manager. We're not against anybody. We are pro firefighter. All right, if our issues don't align or if our thought processes don't align, doesn't mean we're personally against them. We're just for your benefit. The issues we've been talking about, we talked about the Kelly numbers for years now. For over 2 years now, this local has been given the warning signs, in our newsletters, in our briefings like this to city council about these staffing issues and the shortfalls that we've created. We have robbed positions from the staffing model to create staff jobs. We are not saying those jobs are not needed. We are just saying if you're going to create those jobs and have those jobs, they need to be, the staffing model needs to be taken into consideration. When we take these jobs and take them off the streets and put them on a 40-hour work week, that creates a shortfall that we then have to hire back for. This local has advocated for additional staff positions. A matter of fact, last year, if you remember, we made a resolution and it passed about not supporting new positions where the staffing model wasn't taken into consideration. The reason that staffing model is so important is because of the position we're in now. Now that COVID is hit and it's here and it's making the second round or whatever and the numbers have spiked, we can't control that. But what it would have helped if we had the allocated positions, if we had staffed accordingly, if we hadn't taken positions away, that lessens the impact. If those things wouldn't have been done, I can promise you, brothers and sisters, we wouldn't be canceling Kelly numbers. We wouldn't be having mandatory overtime. Those are the things Local 660 was fighting for. We weren't fighting against anybody. We were fighting for firefighters, for the staffing model. VHAL, all right? During our meetings with VHAL, it was stated from Deputy Chief Winkles, from the city manager, from the fire chief, all 40-hour-a-week people need to be on VHAL because they could be called back in. How many were called back in when we couldn't staff the trucks a couple weeks ago? How many do you think? All right, so if the reason there's on VHAL is because they could get called back in, why weren't they called back in? Speaking of VHAL, 3 weeks ago, the city manager had a meeting with us, the Public Safety Pay Plan Committee, and his staff, and we talked about VHAL. During that meeting, the city manager and his staff that was with him promised us an opinion from the city manager whether he had the authority to decide who was on VHAL. He also stated that we needed to have additional meetings on this. Well, it's been 3 weeks. Do you think we've gotten any answers? When the bell hits and we're in the fire station, every time you answer the call. We don't delay. We do our job right away. Here we are, once again, 3 weeks, more delay tactics from the city. I don't say that to vent. Maybe I do a little bit, but I say that because that's what they think of you. All right. You deserve the same respect that we give our citizens. When we ask, when we're called, we answer right away. Why is it that our city manager, our KBUs can't give us answers? We hide behind task forces. All right. We submit questions to the task force and they excuse and justify all of their actions. They don't take accountability for anything. We need to come together to unify, to demand answers. All right. This isn't about BCs or division chiefs because, again, we talk to them, we get their frustration. They try to get answers from command staff and can't get them. You've heard them in the stations. It's frustrating for them as well. That is why we need to come together across all ranks. We need to take our concerns to council and ask them to demand answers. You deserve that. You deserve that. As a firefighter organization, now here's something we can all agree on. All right. And we're going to ask the fire chief to stand behind us. If you remember a couple years ago, Police Chief Kerr Putney had no problem going before council and demanding better pay for his people. All right. This COVID has proven how valuable we are to the city and the risk we take. So because of that, we are going to ask for pay parity with the police. I'm sure that's something that the fire chief and the command staff and every sister and brother on this fire department could get behind. We want pay parity with CMPD. We also want it to take the same amount of time to get through the pay plan as CMPD. We want the same retirement contribution as CMPD. We got the 1% last year in supplemental retirement in our 457. We're supposed to get another additional 1%, hopefully next budget cycle. But we are going to ask for that immediately. The same 5% they get, we want. All right, we deserve that. The same if that one additional percent into the 457 would do that. We're going to ask for the same separation allowance that CMPDs get. All right, if they want to treat us all the same, we are showing our worth to the city here. Again, we are making sacrifices. No other workforce has been asked to make the sacrifices we make. We work the longest work week in the city. We are scheduled for 52 hours a week on average. All right. That's 2,704 hours a year we are scheduled for. A 40-hour work piece, a 40-hour a week personnel is scheduled for 2,080 hours a year. We are scheduled for almost 700 more hours a year than the rest of the workforce. And because of this pandemic, we've had our Kelly numbers canceled, forcing us to work more. And now mandatory overtime, again, forcing us to work more. We already work longer than anyone else in the city. And those hours take their tolls, brothers and sisters, after years of sleep deprivation, being away from our families. And we do it willingly. And because of that, again, we need the fire chief, the command staff, and every firefighter to get behind this and ask for pay parity with police. One other thing to kind of put in perspective. So a 40-hour a week person is scheduled for 49.8 work weeks a year. With our schedule, that's another way of looking at it. With our schedule, if we were on a 40-hour a week schedule with the hours we work, that would be 68.7 40-hour work weeks a year. Again, a 40-hour a week person works 49.8 weeks a year. If we were on a 40-hour a week schedule with our hours, we would be working 68.7 40-hour work weeks a year. We're not asking for anything we don't believe firefighters deserve, and that's pay parity with CMPD. Sisters and brothers, again, we need to come together across all ranks. We need to advocate for each other. Again, Local 660 is a firefighter first organization. Your health and safety are our number one priority. We're looking out for you, your families. We want to make sure all rules are followed and applied evenly across all ranks, and we believe that should start at the top of any organization. Again, it's time we all put these differences aside, come together, speak with one voice. Stay safe, stay strong, stay union. Don't forget, this Thursday, there's going to be a Zoom meeting about all this. Please spread the word. Let's get as many participants as we can to call in. Let's talk about these issues, and let's find out how we can come together to advocate for ourselves. Thank you.